One of the most controversial and polarizing figures in the NBA today is of course Kyrie Irving. In large part due to his departure from Cleveland, burning bridges in Boston, and failing in Brooklyn, he got the label as a toxic teammate and a cancerous player in the locker room via the media.
We are witnessing one of the most delusional athletes in American history. He's lost.
And this past year in Dallas for Kyrie, it was a much needed bounce back season reminder of how great this guy truly is. As in the first round versus the Clippers, with a hobbled Luka, averaged 27 points per game on 51-44 and 85 splits. And defensively, probably the best series Kyrie's ever had in his career, as he guarded players like James Harden, Russell Westbrook, even Paul George, and opponents versus Kyrie in the series shot 38%. And one of the best series, if not the best series of Kyrie's career post-Cleveland, came in the West Finals versus Minnesota. And if you look at his overall fourth quarter stats for the entire series, just phenomenal top to bottom. And his overall stats, much like the Clippers series, 27 points per game on impeccable shooting splits. And what I was anticipating coming off that great playoff run is Kyrie being a part of Team USA for the second time in his career. As of course back in 2016 in Brazil, helped him secure gold, and in 2014 also won gold at the FIBA World Tournaments. A guy like Kyrie Irving showing interest in Team USA, having USA experience, coming off a great individual year and a team season, you'd think get a spot on Team USA.
I met the criteria to be selected, but I wasn't.
And looking at this year's Olympics, what was it booked as, marketed as, coming into the summer? You know, this team's the Avengers, the old guys assembling, and restoring dominance for USA basketball. And some of the prominent old guys featured: LeBron was 39, Curry 36, KD 35, and of course Kawhi Leonard was 33, with the knees of a 43-year-old. When you're talking about the old guard of the NBA, the best players of the 2010s, who still have game, Kyrie's one of the few players who still does. As guys like Westbrook, Chris Paul, while they are Hall of Fame players, played for USA in past years, don't really have what it takes to be a part of this team in 2024. Kyrie, he's still got it. And looking at the backup point guard for Team USA, that is of course Tyrese Halliburton, who, you know, he's a nice player, nice young player, kind of injury prone, but he's a nice solid pick. Is he better than Kyrie Irving at this point in his career? I personally don't think so. And if you're building the quote-unquote old guy Avengers, Kyrie's a guy with Team USA experience who this year had a phenomenal playoff run. And I wasn't going to make a video on Kyrie being snubbed from this team, but after Kawhi Leonard pulled out, got injured, I felt like I had to. So of course Kawhi being hurt, being injury prone, we're all shocked by that, we're all taken aback. This guy's always healthy, always available. Of course I'm joking. The biggest surprise about Kawhi dropping out was who replaced him in the Olympics. And that of course is Derek White. And look, D. White, as a Celtics fan, I love this dude, a great role player, a great 3-and-D player. But for Boston's team, at best their 4th best player, and at the worst, 5th or 6th. And again, I love D. White. But the guy who passed up to go to D. White was of course Jaylen Brown, guys like Jalen Brunson, and Kyrie Irving. And looking at Jaylen Brown first, this guy, he's the reigning Finals MVP, the best player on a Finals team. How he didn't make Team USA in the first place, that's shocking. But getting passed up as a replacement in favor of Derek White, I mean, something more is going on here.
It doesn't add up, Mr. Case. It does not add up.
In terms of overall playstyle skill set, Jaylen Brown is kind of Kawhi-esque. The same height, the same build, and a great two-way player, except Jaylen is a much healthier guy. Now, if you ask Jaylen Brown, ask Kyrie why they got passed up for this team, their answer seems pretty straightforward and simple. The company in control of Team USA is Nike, a billion-dollar company, tons of influence, reach, and brand recognition. And for Team USA basketball specifically for the past 40 years, they're a Nike team, an extension of the brand on the world stage. So when it comes to picking guys for this team who aren't really Nike guys or outspoken against Nike, not really a shock those guys kicked to the curb in favor of Derek White and Tyrese Halliburton. And it once again shows when it comes to All-Star games, All-NBA teams, especially Team USA, there's tons of politics behind the scenes moves that we the public don't see. It's a lot more of who's your buddy, who do you know, the connections you have, and also who have you offended, who have you crossed, and made upset. And for Jaylen Brown and Kyrie, the guy they offended is Phil Knight of Nike.
I am too hurt. I am shocked and offended and hurt.
As looking back to the 2022 season, Nike and Kyrie had a very, very public breakup. His endorsements were dropped, shoe deal was dropped, he was kicked to the curb by Nike. Now, the one outspoken figure for Kyrie at this point was of course Jaylen Brown, a fellow snub of Team USA. And what Jaylen said in response to Kyrie getting dropped as an athlete, it still rings true to this day. Since when does Nike the company care about ethics? If you want to know my honest answer of why Kyrie Irving and Jaylen Brown were kept off Team USA, I think Nike 100% had a role in keeping them off this roster. As again, looking at someone like Jaylen, the reigning Finals MVP and a healthier version of the current Kawhi Leonard. And then looking at Kyrie, USA experience, Olympic experience, has played in FIBA, and a marquee player of the past 10 years. If you want to say Kyrie shouldn't have made it, I mean, go ahead and say that. But someone like Jaylen Brown, the reigning Finals MVP, him not making it, that's something's going on there. And Nike's influence with Team USA, whether it be basketball, track, polo, soccer, whatever it may be, those roots, they run deep. And if you cross the big dog, you're going to pay for it in the long run, like Kyrie and Jaylen. And the funny thing I noticed, when USA was playing Canada in a scrimmage, it was the Nike USA Showcase.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Nike Incorporation quite literally funds Team USA, and having two players who are against Nike on the roster, you know, that's not going to fly. And looking at someone like Gilbert Arenas, who I rarely agree with, he said certain players in the past have gotten preferential treatment as Nike athletes for Team USA. And guys who have Adidas shoe deals, Under Armour deals, Puma deals, you know, they might make the roster, but if push comes to shove, them versus a Nike athlete, they're taking the Nike guy 24/7, 365. And looking back at Kyrie specifically, since 2022, he's been robbed of numerous individual accolades and acclaim that he rightfully deserves. Most notably, the NBA's top 75 all-time list from the 2022 season. And to add some context, Kyrie initially was on this list and he was included. But of course, the controversy ensued, he was taken off, replaced, and kind of dismissed and forgotten. And to show you how deep it went, the Brooklyn Nets at this time, before the controversy, had an entire video and entire tribute congratulating Kyrie on making that list.
You know, me being right in the middle of this now, and that will come after me, to be etched with those names, knowing that I was once a fan and now I became part of it, it's like looking back on it, I'm honored.
Seeing something like that makes you realize the NBA at the end of the day, yes, they have the best players, the best athletes, the best teams in the world. When it comes to the league as a whole, it's a lot more entertainment politics than you'd like to think. And for a player like Kyrie Irving, who has tons of false narratives surrounding him, they can paint him as a villain and other guys as a hero. That's the WWE nature of the NBA. And some guys like Kyrie get stuck on the back end of being a so-called villain. Now that right there is the end of the video, and when it comes to Team USA, most likely they're going to win gold. But if this run was booked as the last chance for Team USA, you know, their last run with the Avengers, you gotta have Kyrie on that list and on this team. And for someone like Jaylen, to replace Kawhi with Derek White, while Derek is a great player, Jaylen 100% should have gotten that spot. As always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.